Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you, well, for us, it's like 15 minutes after the last recording.
Yeah, which we don't normally do.
We do not normally do this. But for you, it is a new week. And so we are coming back to you this week to talk about our first haunt visits of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to do this as quickly as we could, so all the memories were as fresh in our head as possible.
Right.
A. And B, because it is the crazy season, and while we have a little bit of kind of forced downtime, we're trying to record as much of this shit as we can.
Yes.
So this episode's a little bit on the weird side. I don't know why I did that voice or what that voice even was.
It was weird, which was what you were going for. So mission accomplished.
Cool. But yes, this one's a little weird. We're going to do a new question of the week in a second, but we do not have last week's question of the week because, like I said, 15 minutes later. So for 10, which is going to be a redux, won't have a question of the week at all.
Let's just not do a question of the week this week.
Actually, no, I think we should. So that way on 411 we can catch up on everything.
Okay.
Whatever it is. Because I do want to ask this question, which is... shit. Oh, yeah. How do you deal with a problem customer?
Yes.
We will be sharing that question a week everywhere that we are. We are on hauntweekly.com, hauntweekly on Twitter, hauntweekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/hauntweekly. Didn't do that part of the intro, I don't think.
No.
But regardless, that is where the question of the week will be. And we will cover answers to this week's question of the week, last week's question of the week on 411.
Yes.
Got it? So 408, which actually was a repeat of 407, and 409 will all be talked about on 411.
Yes.
So we have to do a 411 now. We're pretty much fucking committed to 411. So yeah, we'll be doing it then. But like I said, this is going to be a weird episode because we're going to just talk about the first couple of haunt visits we had. And hopefully try to get, close enough to a full episode out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the challenge is going to be we don't actually have show notes.
Right.
So if we seem more rambly or more wobbly than usual, that's why. Because usually what we do, and usually the order of operations is we start working on show notes on Friday or Saturday. Sometimes we start on Sunday. Record on Sunday or Monday, depending upon the exact schedule we have, and then get it up Monday afternoon, Monday evening.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, obviously with haunt season, we're kind of playing it fast and loose. I know we've done similar things in previous episodes, previous haunt seasons, so this shouldn't be too foreign, but yeah, just a heads up, things are a little bit weird right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, this weekend we finally got to visit some local haunts.
Mm-hmm.
We first went to the Mortuary, and then we went over to New Orleans Nightmare. And right off the bat, I want to talk about the buying experience with both of these.
Okay.
Because we have a rule, whenever we're going to go to a haunt, especially if we're going to talk about it here on Garbage Horror or wherever, we try to pay for our ticket. The easiest way to make that happen is we buy online.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes very important with the New Orleans Nightmare review coming up.
Yes, it does.
So it makes sense to start by talking about the buying experience of both. In both cases, okay, just because we're paying for tickets doesn't mean we're suckers. We still look for the best deal. We don't go and look for the most expensive package or whatever. We try to get a good deal for ourselves. And in both cases, we attempted to pre-purchase tickets during the early bird sales.
Right.
Because we knew we were going to these. These are the local haunts. We couldn't avoid going to them if we tried.
Yeah, these are the ones that if we can't get to anything else, we know we can set aside some time during haunt season to get to these two.
Yeah. And we did. And so with New Orleans Nightmare, they're part of the 13th floor.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually the first tickets we bought. because they had an early bird sale, I believe, way back in August,
Mm-hmm.
where they were offering like $14 tickets, which is an insane deal when you look at how much the tickets cost during the middle of season.
Right.
And I've got to say, their process for handling pre-sales is about as good as can be. Because they do have time ticketing. They have time by night and by time slot in the night. However, when you buy your ticket during that early bird, super cheap discount sale, you're not actually buying a ticket. You're buying a coupon code, which you will redeem later for a ticket. This will come up in a minute. We'll come back to this because this is important. We ended up buying the Mortuary tickets later when they actually launched theirs like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Much more recently they launched theirs. The discount wasn't nearly as great, probably because you weren't buying like a month and a half in the future.
Yeah, and it wasn't as good as previous years either.
Yeah. It wasn't as good of a sale. And when you bought, you had to pick your date and time then and there.
Right. So...
Which is really frustrating for two people who have a podcast, who have a haunted house of their own to build and run.
Yeah, it came to Saturday, the whatever day that was. Insert date here.
Yeah. Saturday the 23rd.
Yeah, the
September 23rd. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had been building the structure for the light tunnel all day, and we're actually getting a pretty good clip, and the sun was going down, so it's starting to cool off, and then we had to stop.
Because that was when we had decided we would set aside the time to go to the mortuary.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Like 2 weeks, like several weeks prior. And it's like, fuck, I hated 2 to 3 week ago me.
Yeah, and if you hadn't been keeping up, there's been a lot of changes around the house in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. And we talked about this last week,
right.
And for us, like an hour ago,
yeah,
we talked about your new job and how that has kind of thrown a monkey wrench into everything.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. I mean, can a monkey wrench be in a good way?
I don't know.
If it is possible for a monkey wrench in your plans to be a positive, this is it.
Yeah.
Because, this is going to give us so much more time to work on the haunt during October.
Right.
And comfort and money and everything else with which we need to do it.
Yeah.
We're not going to be worried about other things. And you don't have all the events because, like, at your new job, October is the slower season.
Right.
So you'll be getting integrated.
And oddly enough, this is not the first time I've switched jobs in October.
No, this has happened. This
is the second.
This has come up before. Like, I may be looking for new work myself, and I've just decided I'm not doing it until at least November.
Yeah.
Not even thinking about it, not entertaining the notion. There's no reason to. So we're plowing on ahead on my job until October.
Mm-hmm.
But the point we're getting at, though, is like the mortuary purchase experience was pretty rough, and we had to make some difficult and then regretted decisions in the moment. They made sense at the time. I'm sure, because we made them. But they absolutely kind of sucked the day of. But also, since we had coupon codes for New Orleans Nightmare, we're like, well, if we're already crossing the river, let's do both.
Just get them all in, same time.
Made perfect sense. This way we only have to cross the river once for these.
Yeah, and then we may be able to, get some haunt work done after we get back.
So I booked. So then I went on the New Orleans Nightmare website to actually claim the coupon codes the day of, basically, that morning. And since we had 8:30 tickets, I don't remember why we got 8:30. I think it might have been the earliest we could do, or nearly the earliest.
I don't know.
But anyways, we did 8:30. I knew the line to the mortuary can be wildly unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically I said, okay, what's the latest ticket I can get a New Orleans Nightmare? And I did that kind of knowing the eventual outcome of all this, which is that the timing did not fucking matter one bit.
Nope.
I'm not even sure the date actually mattered, but the timing definitely did not.
Yeah.
And because so basically we had 8:30 time tickets for Mortuary and 10:15 time tickets for New Orleans Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
You following all this? Now, as I'm going through and buying the ticket for New Orleans Nightmare, one of the things I noticed on their site that was new was this hidden bar.
Yes.
In New Orleans Nightmare.
It's in the haunted house.
It's in the haunted house, and it's secret. You have to find it.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, and we're like, well, shit, we got to try this.
Yeah, this would be fun.
Hey, a bar.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, of course I'm there. Do they have Guinness? Fun fact, no.
Yeah,
we'll get into that in a minute.
later.
But no, well, I'm like, I got all these visions of sugar plums dancing in my head, and of course I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah.
So as I'm checking out and buying the tickets that I had purchased previously, I see that the bar is an add-on.
Yeah.
And this was a little bit confusing, I have to admit, because the way, like, the front page of the site made it sound like more like a speakeasy you found your way into, and I assume, paid for drinks there.
Right. It sounded like a game. Like you would find something that said, this is a bar.
Yeah.
And if you saw it, then you got to do the bar thing, and if you didn't, then you didn't.
And here's the thing, if you think I'm being fucking stupid, okay, that's fair, I probably am. But here's the thing, in my defense, the to be fair moment is, in New Orleans, this is actually a thing.
Yes.
There are at least a couple of bars where if you know the passcode or the secret phrase or how to find it or whatever, you can access quote-unquote not public secret bars in the French Quarter.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is actually a thing in New Orleans. This is not completely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Our thought process was not totally nuts.
No.
So anyways, I did the add-on, and so I paid another $20. It was $10 per ticket. And that planned to hit that as we went through. So our evening. Let's talk about the full evening, because context is always good.
Yes.
Then it gives me an excuse to talk about Beach Corner Bar and Grill, one of my favorite places in the city, because they are actually probably, in my opinion, the best burgers.
They have really good burgers.
In New Orleans. I'm hard-pressed to think of better. I'm hard-pressed to think of in the same caliber.
Yeah.
I mean, just amazing burgers. It's a dive bar atmosphere. Now, one thing we didn't count for was we were going in the middle of an LSU game.
Yes, so the bar was packed.
But nonetheless, we still got through. We actually arrived there fairly early, anticipating that we would be at Mortuary sometime, because they are literally a 2-minute walk from the Mortuary.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come to New Orleans to go to the Mortuary, go to Beach Corner.
Yeah, either before or after you visit.
Yeah, just saying. It's well worth it. Trust me. If you like burgers, you like big burgers, they don't fuck around here. I'm just telling you now. They don't play games. Also, do note the burgers don't come with fries. I'd forgotten that, but it wasn't important because the burger was so big, it was a meal unto itself.
It was.
Just trust me. But anyways, so we had a very lovely but somewhat loud dinner there. Yeah. And then walked over to the Mortuary. Mm-hmm. And even though we ended up getting there early, we were there a little bit after 8 for our 8:30 tickets. Yeah. They let us in, no problem. We had no issues getting in with the timing. And the queue line, we got to meet the actor that has been everywhere in their advertising and everything else.
Yes, that is an improvement this year, is that their advertising and marketing videos are showing the people that are in the haunt.
Yes, or in the queue line.
You would think, of course, they do that, but not always.
They did not do that in previous years, and we got a mite bit miffed when we found out they were using stock video bought on Video Jungle in their commercials. And it was not representative of haunt anyway, and this is going to come up again.
Uh-huh.
This is a long episode, I just realized. I'm like, we're never going to get 50 minutes out of this. It's 15 minutes in, we're not even in the fucking door of the Mortuary. Because we keep plugging stuff that's coming up later.
Yeah. Good luck on us remembering all that stuff.
Well, I'm glad we're doing it the fuck now, because imagine if we tried to do this episode next week.
Yeah.
After a week of heat exhaustion.
So first we had to figure out where to go because we already had tickets.
The signage has not improved in Mortuary. This was a problem last year. It's been a problem in previous years. Signage is still unclear. Where to go if you already have tickets versus where to go if you have tickets. But I think that issue's kind of dead because I think it's the same line now.
Yeah.
Regardless. So anyways, I was surprised to find it was not very busy. There were about a dozen, maybe 24 people in line.
Yeah.
And as a group of 2, we got paired with another couple that was in front of us, a younger couple, a guy and a girl. And basically, we kind of got smushed together with them. And it was kind of funny because apparently she was planning on going in first, so that way no one could get in behind her. She would have her boyfriend behind her.
Yeah.
And then, oh, no, now I don't want to be first. There's people behind me. Oh, you think we're safe in a haunted house? That's a risky play. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have a habit of the haunter coming out at me and scaring other customers. I just sometimes can't help it. I try to avoid it. I really do. And I've only done it a few times, but it's like, oh, that's bold. To pretend that we're the safe ones.
Yeah.
You clearly don't know who you're going in with. Which is to be fair, we're not actually celebrities, but yeah, maybe not the smartest assumption. Just saying.
Well, we also haven't done YouTube videos in a long time.
That's true too. That's true.
People may know our voices, but not what we look like.
We kind of just decided we only wanted to do the haunt reviews once, and Haunt Weekly is the better place for us to do them. So, anyways. Go into the haunt. We were only in the queue line about 10, 15 minutes, I think. In fact, I think both places had about a 15-minute wait. So that's not bad. But once again, both of them were very quiet, relatively quiet nights, and neither queue line was anywhere near full. But we went in, and the very first scene... Okay, backtrack, sorry. We forgot to mention the theme.
Yes.
We need to mention that and talk about that. No, that was a pretty bad omission on our part. Once again, considering we talked for 15 minutes before we even got in the first front door. But the theme for the mortuary was Blood Wedding, and we talked about that, I believe, at 4:07.
Yeah.
And we did our haunt preview thing of the haunts we're planning on hitting. And I was actually very excited about this theme. Mm-hmm. Because the mortuary, the USP, the unique selling point of the mortuary has always been, it is a gorgeous old actual mortuary.
Yes.
That is like so much of the appeal of it. It is a gorgeous building. And, the years in which the theme has done really well have been years that they can do something with that building that still kind of feels unique and special. Mm-hmm. And then the years that theme has kind of been lame and sucked were years they tried to work against that. Like the circus year. Yeah. The military themed year also was just not the best. Things like that. They had years in there that were just not that great because they were not leaning into that. This is a theme which had lots of interesting possibilities and goes great with the building. Could have gone great with the building. Mm-hmm. Which then brings us to our first actor, the person who was there. He was a very mustachioed man. Yeah. Prim and proper mustachioed man who was one of the actors that was definitely incredibly memorable from the night. Who asked for our invitations. Mm-hmm. And, of course, oh, no, we don't have them. Must have left them in our other pants, whatever the excuse I made was at the time. And so, oh, well, I know y'all are on the list, come join us. You're much anticipated for dinner type thing. Yeah. And then I don't know what happened.
I don't either.
And I'm so curious.
There is some interaction that happened with the young couple
They were in front of us. Yeah, they were in front of us. So the mustachioed man was in front of them, facing us, but we couldn't see.
Yes.
And he made a reference to, this is not the performance of Beetlejuice, Ms. Beaubert. You do not have to act that. And I'm like, what happened?
What the fuck did we miss?
It happened in like 10, 15 seconds. Like
Less than that.
It was incredibly quick, whatever happened. We have no idea what it was. If you good sir, are listening and remember this, please unburden us. Because we've been trying to figure it out.
Or is this just something you say to every couple that comes in?
Yeah.
Because it's the joke this year. Which is fine. I just want an answer.
I just want to know. And I admit this was a younger couple. And, horny younger couple, maybe. I don't know. Something could have happened.
I don't know.
But anyways, so we go in and then immediately realize that the theme, Blood Wedding, apparently doesn't really carry through to the entirety of the haunt.
No.
And then this is where we get to less of a blow-by-blow description of what happened and more just some general thoughts.
Yeah. The decorations were not consistent in quality. Like, it was really weird. Because...
Well, the entire haunt wasn't consistent.
Right.
Like, nothing about it. Like, one of the things we came out talking was, because it's 2 floors plus the basement.
So 3 floors.
So 3 floors.
They advertise it as 3 floors.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of stairs.
And the lady, when letting us into the haunt, said to expect it to take 20 to 25 minutes or 20 to 30 minutes. We couldn't hear which.
Yeah.
But either way, 20 was supposed to be the minimum number of minutes. And fun fact, no. I knew that was pretty much impossible because of they're very size limited.
Yeah.
Because their unique selling points, also their biggest weakness, they don't have room to expand or grow.
Right.
They are limited by the size of what they have. And every year, very consistently, it's been about a 13 to 14 minute walkthrough.
Yeah. Now, did notice that they had put up more walls and tried to make the walking path longer this year.
Yeah, a little bit.
So
yeah.
that gave me a little bit of hope because I noticed that in the first rooms. But that also changed as we went on.
Yeah. But like we were on that top floor. We started at the top, work our way down pretty much is how it goes. And I think we saw more security and staff than we did actors on that floor.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just a slow night for them because it was the second weekend or if it was...
They were struggling with actors or if they just didn't put actor positions up there.
Yeah, I do know that there's a COVID spike right now happening. So that might have taken out some actors, but I don't know.
And I do know that all of the area haunts are looking for actors still, even though they're open. They still have applications open and places to call on their sites. It's one thing I did notice.
Yeah, there's desperation out there.
So, yeah. But honestly, it felt a lot like the Mortuary from previous years.
Yeah.
That's just how to say it. And that means it's hamstrung by 2 things. One is that it's going to be shorter than you might like for the price.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is because it's the Mortuary and this is just their design philosophy, it's going to be way too fucking dark.
Yeah. There was
a lot of very beautiful stuff we could not see.
Exactly. And that's always a frustration because I like seeing the detail work that you put into it. Not every customer is going to be one of those people that runs through your haunt and doesn't look at shit. You know, there are a lot of those, but not everybody is.
And I get that some parts of a haunt can be, should be, need to be dark.
Mm-hmm.
But lighting is supposed to be used tactically, A, to highlight the things that you want customers to see, and B, to make the path forward reasonably clear. Because, once again, I think twice, our group got confused about where to go.
And it would have been more than twice had I not been in the lead for that little bit of time.
Yeah.
Because there was one space, for some reason, this year, the actor rabbit runs were covered by cloth that didn't go all the way to the floor.
Yeah.
So they weren't doors that were hinged. They were just cloth that was with light coming underneath.
Going back to that tactical lighting,
yeah,
customers are going to naturally and organically go to where there is light.
Yeah.
And that light coming in under the cloth made you want to go underneath it.
Yeah.
But you knew not to because you knew that was an actor.
Yeah, because I looked to the left and saw that, okay, there's the actual hallway. That's the way we actually...
But the actual hallway was super dark.
Yeah.
Without a clear indication, and that was the way to go.
Yeah, the actor run was brighter than the walking path.
Yeah, and a tiny little light indicating that this is the way to go would have done wonders.
Yeah, it would have flooded out the actor run.
You didn't need much there. You just needed something.
No, just a little spotlight at the corner, pointed at the corner of the wall so that it shines at an angle down the hallway. That's the way you go. You follow the light.
Or even just like a little lamp, like on the corner as you come into view to show that this is the way. Like a little like candelabra or something on the wall.
Yeah.
Anything would have shown that. And it would have made that so much easier to find the way and so much easier to see the scares. And I feel bad for a lot of the actors because they are working their ass off in there. Yeah. This is a hard-working group. And I know a lot of them personally, and I know, what they're capable of doing, but it's so hard to scare when you can't be seen.
Yeah, well, and I think part of the reason that they had it so dark was they did something I had not seen in a while in a professional haunt, is they put the fucking fishing line hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
I don't understand that choice.
Yeah, and oddly, they did that in one of the few better lit scenes, so it was very visible.
At the beginning.
Yeah. And they did it once again later on, too.
Yeah, they did
Toward
it
the
in multiple
basement.
places, but
And it was better. And in some of those places, it was lit so that you could tell.
yeah.
Which is like, okay, you made it incredibly dark everywhere except for where you have something you would want to hide.
Yeah,
visually.
because
That effect is
cheesy.
ruined.
Yeah, it just makes it look cheesy.
The effect can work in the right environment and with the right things around it, but just strung up in a place where it's lit, no, that looks like you said, it looks cheesy and it does not look like a professional haunt. And like I said, the actors were really hustling.
Yeah.
I feel bad because the actors were definitely doing, their jobs, but they were struggling with the environment. You could tell that they.
Well, and a lot of the times the actors were misused.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like they weren't put in places where they could shine.
Yeah, you had several spaces where there was no actors, and then you have a room that was a clusterfuck of actors.
Yeah, and
just on top of each other.
Yeah.
And now no one gets to shine. No one gets the piece.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I honestly, there's only one scene that actually played into the blood wedding. They did have a wedding scene in a church, in a church-like environment, and I did like a lot of the use of the prop-based layout throughout.
Yeah.
They both them and New Orleans Nightmare did have good use of prop-based layout, which is something I love to see.
Well, and Mortuary's always kind of had some of that.
Yeah, and I think part of that's because they have to.
Yeah.
Historic building limitations and what they can do.
Yeah. But it was nice to see some new things added, like church pews that you had to snake through.
And that wedding scene looked really nice. The scene looked nice. It was actually lit well. It looked nice. But they only had, that's where they chose to have only one actor.
Yeah.
Who did not have, because of how open it was, did not have a good opportunity for a scare.
Yeah. I think what I would have done in that case, if I were that actor in that room, I would hide behind the big vampire statue at the front of the church, because that's the only hiding place. But it would be better than laying out on a pew and then just sitting up.
Yeah, because they were not hidden.
No, not at all.
Not to me, who was 6 feet tall.
Yeah, they not even to me, who's much shorter than you.
You're not much shorter than me, but someone who is somewhat a little bit shorter. I think you would, you were much shorter than you. It might have been more effective.
Yeah.
But it was not, especially since they were in a white gown.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's a wedding.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's a nice day for a white wedding.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a vampire wedding, so you could wear red or black also.
Yeah. I mean,
and be completely seen as a bride.
But I think
where's the veil?
I think the bride character should have been used as a distract for another startle, though.
Yeah, I was expecting something else in that.
Because she did a good job holding our attention.
Yeah.
I give her credit for that. She was, like I said, working her ass off.
Yeah.
But there was nothing there. It felt like there was nothing there to support her to help complete that room.
Right.
So, all in all, I mean, I ended up going into this with a fair amount of hope. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, good theme. Mortuary has had some very, very fun years when they've had good themes. When the themes has clicked.
Yeah.
And everything was right. They've had some very fun years. I went into it cautiously optimistic. And I was just kind of bummed. Now, I will say, and this is a brief aside, we stopped by a place on the way out to kill some time before we went to New Orleans Nightmare, because we knew we were going to be really early, because we were out of the mortuary
before we were supposed to be in.
Before we were supposed to be in. We were out there about 8:30, and our time ticket for New Orleans Nightmare was at this point 2 hours away.
Yeah,
almost 2 hours away, and so we stopped at a little drink shop nearby that was next door to the beach corner. It was lovely. Mm-hmm. Just lovely. A little vegan creamery and mocktail place. I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, it was a lot of fun. They make very lovely drinks.
I like the mortuary was so far off theme that I actually wondered if they had a new set designer or something who was just trying to figure it out. Because
they did have a banquet scene.
Yeah.
They
had a banquet scene, but then they also had zombies and voodoo.
Yeah, and then they had brought some of the circus stuff back in one room. And I guess that was supposed to be like the reception, because it was after the wedding.
Yeah.
But it did not immediately scream reception to me.
Right. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Honestly, like I said, the actors, makeup, that type of stuff is still good.
Mm-hmm.
The people in there, I think, generally are doing a good job. But the design and the lighting, they're being let down.
Yeah.
By the design, the lighting, and the fact they just don't have places in ways they can really get effective scares a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's frustrating, but it's like I said, the Mortuary, that's the thing about the Mortuary, is it's different, theoretically at least. It's very different year to year to year because it's a knockdown haunt. They're supposed to change significant portions of it. They supposedly change significant portions of it. And so every year, even if I am a little bit disappointed the prior year, I go back with renewed optimism. And it's just a question of, is it met? And this year, I don't know. I was not as impressed as I was with some of the past years.
Mm-hmm.
So, New Orleans Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember the 15 minutes before we started talking about haunts, I mentioned buying the tickets there.
Yes.
That actually turns out to be really, really important to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had tickets to the haunt and we had tickets to the secret bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I was excited about this experience. So we get there. They say, hey, if you got tickets, go right in line. They went through the metal detector, that was a shit show.
Go through, set off the metal detector, pull everything
out of your pocket,
and just show them.
You're fine.
Yeah.
I could have been strapping easy.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was not. The point of the matter is, we get told to go straight in the line, get our ticket scanned by the nice lady with the scanny thingy, and we get in line. And once again, a few dozen people in front of us. Snake our way through. We're in a line about 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes tops. And then we go in, get our photo taken, and then enter what I think was actually my favorite part of the night.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, and the more time I've spent with it in my brain, I've come to think of this more and more highly, because we entered the new sequence, which was a morgue.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a mortuary blood harvest thing.
Yeah.
Which was a vampire mortuary themed, which is an interesting choice given that, like I said, the mortuary blood wedding was literally 10-minute drive away.
Right.
But 15-minute drive away. But anyway, it was actually a city morgue zombie sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
Zombie slight sci-fi tent thing, I think. And the thing about it was, like, of all the actors I really remember in that night, I think 3 of them were in this opening sequence. There's like 6 or 7 actor interactions that really stuck with me. 3 were in that scene.
Yeah.
The first was the receptionist, the very first person you see. I love her to tears.
Yeah. She was awesome.
She gets in and she pulls off, it was the very similar tone to, if you've ever seen the Vengeance is Mine commercial, music video by Alice Cooper. The dropping off or picking up of that. But she does it instead of the Valley Girl like that character is in the music video. She's just more of the, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah, I'm done with this job. I don't want you
Why
here.
am I fucking here? Who are you? What are you doing here?
Why are there living people walking into my morgue?
Yeah, this is supposed to be a dead people only. And we actually unintentionally, because the thing is, like, we unintentionally fuck with actors sometimes on interaction scenes.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think we're just looking, I think was what you said.
Yeah.
Just searching.
Checking. Seeing if we know anybody here.
Yeah, she's like, well, just go and ask so-and-so. She actually did it perfectly.
Yeah. Just go and do it. Just don't take my
just
sandwich.
Just don't take my sandwich, yeah. Stay out of the fridge. Perfect. Very entertaining. Set the mood, set the tone perfectly. And I think it might have been the very next actor was the scientist girl working at the desk.
Yes.
And you go through and you're like, the room's not very efficient because you just kind of take a right-hand turn through the room. You don't actually walk really far into the room. But she slammed her hand and said, I'm the only one that does any work here. Yeah. And like this exasperating, just wanted to hug her because like, we feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you so hard right now.
I know that.
We're here for you. We support you, scary scientist lady.
Yeah.
We support you.
Yeah.
And there was also a mad scientist later on with a clipboard running around, slamming it against things and just exasperating about being too stressed out. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I feel these characters. I feel all of them.
Yeah.
And they were very entertaining, very engaging, and yes, very good at startling. Because in all the cases, they knew how to time their interactions. They timed the noises they made. Mm-hmm. And yeah, maybe, it's not a fall down type of scare, but it'll make you jump.
Yeah.
Because it goes from 0 to 110 like that, It's amazing. I really did enjoy that. So those 3 characters in that opening sequence and the morgue were great. There was a lot of neat scenes in there. This was a new build. So it was not like, I don't think it was as detailed as other scenes that came later, but as it being the new, there may be work still being done on it.
I have no idea, but I thought that it pulled together nicely.
It pulled together nicely, and the actors really did sell it.
Yeah.
The actors, the flow, and the consistent, the consistent tone and theming.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately
quickly died as we approached
the clown sequence.
Yes, okay. The spinny tunnel, which
the vertigo tunnel.
Vertigo tunnel. Thank you. It's So you go through the vertigo tunnel.
We'll get another third try, I promise.
This is why we don't do these back to back.
I know.
My brain.
We're all a little putty brain. But anyways, we hit the vertigo tunnel and go into the clowns, which made sense when the earlier theme was freak show.
Yeah.
You're at a carnival freak show. Now you're going to see the clowns. It was a tonal shift, but it was a tonal shift for logical reasons.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this makes sense.
The only way I can make it make sense is this is obviously we're going into somebody's hell.
Yeah, we're just entering hell.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. It's a 3D clown. We know this because in previous years, we've gotten the glasses and we've had the full experience. They didn't give us glasses this year.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's because they took those away during COVID or... Yeah. I don't remember if we had got them last year.
I don't remember either, honestly.
I don't. But it was weird.
But I know previously we had gotten it, and it's still painted like a 3D clown blacklight thing.
Yeah, it's bright, it's colorful.
It's got the obvious, the overlaying colors for the effect. Now, maybe, because my suspicion is it's a combination of COVID. They likely did away with in COVID. Plus, a certain percentage of those glasses definitely walk off every year.
Yeah.
So that's a cost. And also, it requires staff to both give out and collect glasses. Mm-hmm.
Which takes you out of the moment.
Which takes you out of the moment and takes staff away that could be doing other things.
Right.
So I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad idea, but I think there's a missed opportunity to redecorate and retheme a little bit here. And the other issue I have with it is I realized this the second time we went through. More on that in a minute. Mm-hmm. That they are limited in when they can scare you because there's so little flat ground, so much funhouse grounds. There's the wobbly bridges, there's rises and runs and weird Dutch angles on things and things like that. Dutch tilts and all that. So there's all this weird stuff, and they can't really scare you because if they do and you fall, you could get hurt. Mm-hmm. And it could be their fault.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of hard scares in this scene. And so you don't have the 3D glasses. You don't have, you have some very, very energetic actors.
Yeah.
Very engaged actors. The actors that were in there were definitely working.
And in both haunts, the actors are given their all.
Yeah, and I did not feel like the actors were the problem anywhere.
No.
I'm just being 100% clear on that. I think the actors everywhere were giving it their all, were doing the best with what they had and what they were given. Mm-hmm. So I genuinely believe that. They were limited on when they could scare you. So they have limited scares. You're not getting the 3D effect. And the clown interaction, because, like I said, they can limit scares. I'm not 100% sure what I was supposed to find particularly entertaining about this space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you exit it, And then you go into the door, and then you go into what's now a library. It was previously a chapel sequence. And then you're going to the New Orleans scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, this is when you reach this point, you're entering everything that was the old House of Shock. It's kind of
the space that was, at least, yeah.
Well, and a lot of the scenery,
a lot of material
and themes
too, yeah.
too. I mean, this is where everything feels familiar for me.
Yeah. Even though they've definitely done some rearranging and refreshing over the years,
Yeah.
it still feels very, very familiar. I agree with that. And, basically for this sequence, I don't want to say you can just go back to when we talked about it last year, but in many ways you can.
Yeah.
I mean, there were definitely some great elements of it.
And in previous years, they let you into this area, and this year you let yourself in, which we didn't know.
Or at least we did.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll hold true on busier nights.
Right.
Because it may be a place that they control flow still on busier nights, but this night they weren't, and that ended up being a problem unto itself, because once again, the first time we went through, we very quickly crashed into the group in front of us, and I would say, well, obviously we were going through too fast, but then the group behind us crashed into us, and the group behind them crashed into us too.
Yeah.
It ended up, even though I think pretty much everyone we were in the queue line with,
yeah,
we ended up in a conga line.
Yeah, exactly, because they're not putting enough time between.
Yeah, the photo op.
The photo op doesn't take long enough to do the timing.
Yeah, the photo op doesn't give it, it's only like a 15-second photo op. It doesn't give enough time. Like Mortuary, yeah, it really fucks your throughput, but they have a hard 3 minutes between groups thing. We didn't see another motherfucker other than the people we came in with. Didn't see him. With New Orleans Nightmare, like I said, even on this relatively quiet night, when I think they could have definitely put larger space between groups and not caused problems, we crashed in and had about a 15-person conga line going.
Yeah, because
halfway,
the people in front of us were like, I guess we're going too fast. Do you want to let them behind us go in front of us so that we can slow down? And I'm like, we've got people behind us too, so that's not going to work.
And then we all crashed into a group in front of us.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no one group going the right or wrong speed that I can tell.
No.
I'm not exactly sure how this happened, but it definitely did, and it took some of the wind out of the sails of the last third of the haunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like you said, this is the part that feels familiar, and I really don't have much to add to it.
No.
But the thing I will add is I spent the entire time going through the haunt playing, is this a bar? Is this a bar?
Yeah.
And nothing was a bar.
Yeah.
And we ended up exiting going, where was the secret bar that we paid actual money to go to?
Yeah.
And so we go and we talk to the bartender on the outside bar, the public bar.
Right. Because there was an extension of that bar that was closed off and looked like, well, maybe that's the secret bar.
Yeah, but that was the merch booth. They moved to where the concession stand was. I'm not sure why that happened.
Yeah. But anyway.
But so they said, oh, you need to talk to the people in ticketing about that. Turns out, now I don't want to be too beady-uppy here, and I'll explain why in a minute. What we were supposed to do was, even though we bought tickets online, we were supposed to swing by the ticket booth and pick up an LED wristband, which would indicate that we are supposed to get let into the bar.
Yeah. And that was not in the marketing or when you bought the tickets or in the receipt or explained.
Nowhere. No signage, nothing. It was not indicated anywhere. In fact, the only thing we heard when we arrived was, if you've got tickets, get in line. That was it. That was the only instructions, and we followed those. So, basically, I don't want to get beat them up on it, because apparently this is an experiment that 13th Floor is having them do.
Yeah, and it's only being done at this one.
At this one, and this was their second night being open. And obviously, this is not a huge thing a lot of people are doing.
No, it's
so
not.
They haven't worked through the kinks, and apparently we are the kinks in this one.
Yeah.
Which, at least we're a good band. Could do worse. But no. So, and to their credit, they made it right. They gave us the wristbands, and they were originally going to just usher us into that part of the haunt,
Yeah.
but just decided that since the queue line was empty and the last group in that line had just gone in, they would just let us go in a second time.
Yeah.
And that honestly makes complete sense.
Yes.
So we got to see the entire haunt a second time.
Yes. And including, we didn't talk about him the first time, but there was a guy who, this is always my favorite sequence.
Mhm.
I don't know how they picked the actor to go into this sequence, but there was a guy in a straitjacket who was very interactive
Oh,
and
yeah,
walking
yeah.
overhead. And he's like, "You're back again?" And we're like, "Yes, and you're our favorite."
And he's like, "You're my favorite too. Please stay just a little bit,
Yeah.
just a little bit. We can hang up on the games,
Yeah.
like that." And does that kind of cadence almost exactly.
Yeah.
I think it did pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that type of cadence, and it's such a. It's not. It's more unsettling than scary, which is good. I mean, that's a good
Yeah.
type of scare. Don't get it wrong. But it's more unsettling than scary, but it's also very entertaining.
Yeah, and there's always, in that particular sequence, because it's like a little U that you have to go, and he's on like a bridge kind of thing above you.
Yeah. You're like going around like an island countertop type thing.
Exactly.
And he's got the ability to step around.
Yeah.
To the other side.
To all three sides.
Yeah, you're gonna spend some time with this dude, is what we're saying.
Yeah. And they always pick someone very entertaining to get into that spot and very athletic.
Yeah,
because they jump all over the place.
My knees cringe when I see someone like that, because I'm 43 years old. My knees would shatter into powder if I attempted what he was doing. I can do the voice, and that is it.
Yeah.
But no, he was great, and and that was the other thing, was we did get to see the actors who were like remembering that we were back.
Yeah.
And playing off of it. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. We did get to the New Orleans scene. So we got through the morgue. We got through the clowns. Then we got back into the New Orleans scene. And about halfway through the New Orleans scene, we were Oh, go ahead.
Were you going to talk about why you noticed that the floor was uneven?
Okay, I'll go over it briefly, because this is shit that can happen anywhere, and I don't really think this is any kind of comment on them. I twisted my ankle very gnarly in the vertigo tunnel.
Yeah.
Because I tried to sidestep an actor, and my boot caught the grating, and I don't have those stabilization tendons on the side of either ankle, and I took a pretty good tumble. Yeah. I caught myself on the rail, but I would have been flat on my face if it hadn't been for that guardrail.
Yeah.
And I have this happen great regularity. Mm-hmm. And the answer to it is, it's going to hurt like a hell for a few minutes, but just get me on some level ground and get me, somewhere where I can like walk it off, basically. I'll be fine. And then I realized there's no level ground.
Yeah.
So that's all. Yeah. I'm not, like I said, that's not a criticism. I don't want that to mean anything. No. But yeah, so we got to the bar, and one of the actors intercepted us and ushered us in, and it's a very tiny room with a glass topped coffin. Yeah,
with a skeleton in it that glows in black light, and there's a big bat that's neon on the side. It does not look like the photos.
Yeah, I'll do it here. I was going to do it at the very end, but I'll do it here. I think my biggest problem with New Orleans Nightmare right now, and I don't think this is a product of anyone locally. I think this is a 13th floor thing. In fact, I know it's a 13th floor thing pretty definitively. Is that everything on the website is a fucking lie. And I mean that. Yeah. Every photo of the different segments and the bar that we're supposed to go to and the hidden bar, none of that was taken at New Orleans Nightmare. No. They show a photo of the public bar that looks really nice and fun. It's a full-size bar. No, the bar there is a walk-up bar with picnic tables. It's fine. It's great even, but it's not the photo on the site. The hidden bar photo there was clearly just a stock photo of people celebrating in a bar. Everything on that site is a lie as far as the photos go.
Yeah, because this is tiny. The bartender,
very nice guy.
Very nice.
Liked it plenty.
Not in costume.
But was wearing a Norm Nightmare t-shirt. Offered us our choice of 1 of 2 shots.
Yep. So we got one of each.
And we each took a taste of the other and then downed the one we got.
Yeah.
And then we were offered to take selfies and then leave.
Mm-hmm.
Was that worth $10? I'll let you decide. The shots were fine.
No.
But you can get shots of that caliber anywhere in the city for half the price. Was it kind of cool that we got to see something not everyone, in fact, vast majority of people didn't get to see?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It didn't feel like that was a $10 add-on.
No.
A $10 add-on to me is a second attraction. A $10 to me add-on is a slightly 5-minute escape room or something.
Yeah, even if they had given us some kind of swag that said you found the secret bar, like a little button or something.
Or what if they gave us custom shot glasses?
Yeah.
Like you take the shot in the glass and you've got I found the secret bar thing at Nor.
Yeah.
That'd be something.
Yeah, and you can make it plastic so it's not a hazard for glass if it gets lost in the haunt.
Yeah.
Because, people are stupid.
Or, you could have it where you pick up your shot glass on the way. Something like that.
Yeah.
But you could make it cool. You could make it. It could easily be made worth it. But as it is, it's an interesting idea that I'm not 100% convinced it earns its keep yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then we went through the rest of the haunt a second time.
Yeah.
The only one minor issue that you have when you go to the secret bar is it's not immediately clear which direction you go in the haunt because you go in and out the different doors.
Yeah.
And
so if you go into it, you're going to miss part of the haunt.
A very, very tiny section, admittedly, but because I think you're just at one end of a horseshoe. But it's also not immediately clear which direction you go when you come out. And it would be easy without the aid of an actor to go the wrong way.
Yes. That nearly happened.
In fact, that probably would have happened if not for the actor.
Yes, exactly. So that part was fixed. That they had to figure it out.
That they did have figured out pretty well. But yeah, and then we went through the rest of the haunt, and I don't have much else to say about that.
No.
All in all, I'm glad we went to both. Like I said, Mortuary, for what they charge, and for the overhead of getting there, especially on busier nights, like our night, it wasn't that bad. But like as the season goes on, those lines are going to get longer and longer and longer, and the overhead's going to get higher and higher and higher.
Yeah,
it's always difficult for me to figure out the value proposition there. Mm-hmm. I mean, definitely combine it with a nice, beautiful burger from Beach Corner Bar and Grill right there on Canal Street, right up the road. # not sponsored.
Yeah. Never are.
Never are. I God damn it, I want a burger now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in New Orleans Nightmare, I'm glad they're trying and experimenting with new things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can tell that the secret bar thing is very much an experiment and very much not an experiment that necessarily they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that this was something that 13th Floor said, hey, we're going to do this. And they just kind of had to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
And then 13th Floor put a photo on the website that showed a bunch of frat guys toasting in a bar. And that is not the experience.
No, it is a shots room. It is not a bar. It is a brief
Which
experience.
it is called a shot in the dark. In hindsight, I guess I should have seen that coming. But they do also advertise it as a secret bar, so.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we had fun at both for all of our griping. We had fun at both.
Yeah, I mean, it was worthwhile, and it did give us inspiration and a little bit of oomph to work on our own haunt.
Yeah.
So I can't complain too hard. I mean, yeah, obviously we're good at griping and nitpicking, because we nitpick our haunt, too. Nobody nitpicks our shit more than us.
No.
Trust me. But yeah, honestly, like I said, I've got other haunts. We've got other haunts we're going to. We're going to Rise, 13th Gate, Decompose. Those are definite ones we're going to, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing more of this as the season goes on. But honestly, like I said, this just wasn't quite the start I was hoping for. There was no moment that really leapt out.
No.
And like, oh man, that was amazing. I didn't have that one moment.
Mm-mm.
But on that note, to see if we get that moment over the course of Haunt Season, please stay tuned to Haunt Weekly at all the places we exist. We're HauntWeekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and YouTube.com/Haunt Weekly. Also find us wherever finer podcasts are distributed. Until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you all next week.